Hello, and welcome to the Long Shadow. Tonight, let the gentle whispers of the past carry you away. Settle in. Let the noise of the modern world fade into the distance, and as we journey back to a time when wisdom was sought not in haste, but in the quiet contemplation of the human spirit, we will travel to ancient Rome, to the life of a philosopher who taught us how to live, how to endure, and how to find peace amidst the storms of existence. The deep, profound blue of the Mediterranean night descends, a velvet curtain drawn across the vast expanse of the sky. From below, a soft, insistent rhythm begins, the sound of waves, ancient and constant, gently stroking, then withdrawing from the rugged time-worn rocks that guard the coastline. It is a lullaby of the ages, a ceaseless whisper of water against stone, rising and falling with an almost imperceptible breath. The hour is late, far past the moment when most of the city's inhabitants have surrendered to sleep. Yet here, on the tranquil outskirts of Rome, a solitary villa stands, a silent sentinel against the boundless canvas of the sea. Moonlight, a pale, liquid silver, pours down from the high, star-dusted heavens, painting the landscape in shades of gray and pearl. It bathes the ancient olive trees that cling to the hillside, their gnarled branches, twisted and sculpted by centuries of persistent winds and relentless sun, casting intricate, dancing shadows on the cool, uneven ground. Each tiny, delicate leaf, turned upwards to the sky, shimmers like a miniature mirror, catching and reflecting the celestial glow, creating a silent, ethereal forest that seems to breathe with the very pulse of the night. The air, thick with the briny scent of salt and the damp, earthy aroma of the coastal soil, drifts slowly inland, a cool, soothing caress against exposed skin. It carries with it the vast, slow, deliberate breath of the ocean itself, a profound exhalation and inhalation that seems to echo the deepest, most fundamental rhythms of the world, a sound both immense and intimately close. On a wide, expansive terrace, elevated high above the murmuring shore, a figure sits in quiet repose. It is Lucius Annaeus Seneca. He is utterly still, his posture relaxed, his gaze fixed on the distant, indistinct horizon, where the dark sky meets the darker water in an indistinguishable blend of indigo, charcoal, and deepest violet. The very act of watching the horizon, where nothing concrete can be grasped, allows the mind to expand, to let go of specific forms and embrace the boundless. Close by, a faint, almost imperceptible rustle stirs the air. The night breeze, barely a whisper, a ghost of a touch, weaves its way through the polished, cool marble pillars that support the villa's elegant roof. It stirs the heavy, rich draperies within the open arches, sending soft, billowy movements through the deep shadows, a silent, graceful dance of fabric and air. The smooth, cool surface of the marble, touched by the night's pervasive chill, offers a grounding presence, a solid, unwavering anchor in the fluid, shifting darkness. Its coolness is a gentle reminder of permanence amidst the ephemeral. This space, this terrace, is more than just a place. It is a profound refuge. The sounds here are soft, muted, almost absorbed by the vastness. The light is subdued, a gentle glow that invites contemplation rather than scrutiny. The air is a balm, a gentle embrace. Here, the clamor of the city, the relentless demands of the day, The intricate webs of political intrigue that define Roman life teed all. These recede, pulling back like the tide from the shore. Only the enduring presence of the sea, with its timeless voice, the silent, watchful vigil of the moon and stars, and the steady, quiet pulse of the ancient world remain. It is a place where thoughts, like the waves below, can unfurl slowly, gently, without haste, until they dissolve into the boundless, comforting expanse of the night. The mind, much like the tide itself, begins its slow, deliberate ebb, gently pulling away from the busy, often chaotic shores of the modern world, settling deeper and deeper into the tranquil, undisturbed harbor of antiquity. Let your own thoughts follow suit, drifting, unwinding, until they too find their quiet mooring. Now, let us allow our senses to drift back in time, eastward across the glimmering expanse of the sea, and then south deep into the sun, drenched, fertile heart of what would one day be known as the land of Spain. Our destination is the ancient city of Cordoba, nestled in the heart of Andalusia, the very place where Lucius Annaeus Seneca's remarkable journey first began. It is a languid afternoon in Andalusia, a time when the sun, having climbed to its zenith, now hangs high and heavy in the sky, its golden light not harsh or piercing, but thick and rich like warm, slow, pouring honey. This golden light saturates every surface it touches. The ancient terracotta rooftops, softened by centuries of sun and rain, the dusty, winding roads that crisscross the landscape, and the endless shimmering groves of olive trees that stretch as far as the eye can see. A vast, silver-green tapestry woven intricately into the deep red earth. Each tree, a monument to patient endurance, seems to hum with the accumulated energy of countless sunny days. Under the generous, dappled shade of one such ancient olive tree, its trunk a testament to time, twisted and scarred by ages, a young boy sits. This is Lucius Annaeus Seneca, not yet the formidable philosopher, not yet the powerful advisor to emperors, but simply a child, utterly absorbed, lost in the quiet, unfolding world of words. A scroll, carefully unrolled and smoothed, rests on his small lap, its parchment warm from the filtered sunlight that penetrates the canopy above. The air around him is profoundly still, save for the almost imperceptible, gentle rustle of leaves stirred by an occasional, fleeting breath of wind, a whisper that seems to carry secrets from the past. In the hazy distance, framed by the shimmering heat, the slow, deliberate movements of farmers can be observed. They work the land with the timeless, unhurried rhythm of generations, their figures appearing small and distant against the vast, golden fields. The gentle, rhythmic creak of a wooden plow turning the soil, the soft, muffled thud of a hoe striking the earth. These sounds are faint, almost subliminal, carried on the warm, dry air, blending seamlessly into the quiet, pervasive hum of the afternoon. There is no urgency here, no clamor of ambition, no restless striving, only the patient, predictable cycle of sowing and reaping, the steady, unwavering turning of the seasons, a profound echo of eternal truths. The deep, earthy scent of the soil rises, warm and dry, mingling exquisitely with the aromatic, slightly peppery perfume of the olive trees themselves. Further off, the distant, subtle sweetness of wild herbs, baking slowly under the intense sun, adds another layer to the olfactory tapestry. It is a smell of life, of deep roots, of persistent growth, and of an ancient, unbroken connection to the very earth beneath one's feet. This is a world defined not by human decree, but by the sun's slow, majestic arc across the sky, by the deep, unwavering roots of the ancient trees, and by the unhurried, reassuring pace of nature's grand, unfolding design. In this sun-drenched sanctuary under the silent, watchful gaze of the ancient trees, the young Seneca discovers a profound and fundamental sense of security. The world here is simple, predictable, and deeply comforting in its natural cycles. It is a place where the mind can wander freely, unburdened by complexities, where the spirit can unfold gently in the pervasive warmth, feeling utterly safe within the embracing arms of an unchanging, verdant landscape. The steady, distant rhythm of the farm work, the timeless, almost hypnotic whisper of the olive leaves, all conspire to create a natural lullaby of profound peace, a quiet, resonant echo of childhood's undisturbed, unhurried calm. Allow yourself to feel that warmth, that gentle security, that deep connection to the earth, letting it settle into your own being. As the seasons turn and the years unfold, the quiet, sun-drenched fields of Cordoba gradually recede into memory, making way for the bustling, ambitious, and often chaotic heart of the Roman Empire. Young Seneca, no longer merely a boy, but a keen and eager young man, is drawn by the irresistible magnet of knowledge and opportunity, embarking on the momentous journey to the grand city of Rome. He arrives with a mind hungry for understanding, a spirit ready to absorb the wisdom of the world. His path, almost inevitably, soon leads him to the grand libraries of the city, vast echoing halls filled to their high ceilings with the accumulated thoughts, debates, and dreams of countless centuries. Here, the very air itself seems to be woven from the distinct, comforting scent of old parchment, of dried, ancient ink, and of the faint, sweet dust that gently settles on countless tightly rolled scrolls. The light, often dim and subdued, filters reluctantly through high, narrow windows, illuminating tiny motes dancing lazily in the air, creating a hushed, almost sacred atmosphere, thick with the weight of time and knowledge. In these hallowed spaces, among scholars who move with quiet reverence, speaking in low, thoughtful murmurs that barely disturb the stillness, Seneca finds his true calling, a profound resonance with the pursuit of truth. Often, as the sprawling city outside descends into the familiar clamor and vibrant chaos of night, he remains. A single lamp, fueled by the purest olive oil, casts a warm, flickering glow over his personal workspace, a small pool of light in the surrounding shadows. Its soft illumination dances gently on the vellum of the scrolls, highlighting the intricate, precise script, the carefully crafted lines of argument, the profound insights of those who came before him. His writing instrument, a simple reed pen, scratches softly, rhythmically across the prepared surface of the papyrus. It is a gentle, persistent sound, a testament to the slow, deliberate, and deeply meditative act of absorbing, processing, and articulating profound thought. Sometimes the tiny wick of the oil lamp will sputter, a minuscule, almost imperceptible crackle, breaking the profound stillness, before settling back into its steady, silent, enduring burn. Outside, the distant, muffled clamor of Rome's suing, the shouts of vendors, the rumble of carts, the laughter and arguments, might occasionally reach these thick ancient walls, but within it is a world apart, a sanctuary of deep silence and intense, focused concentration. Here, surrounded by the tangible wisdom of the ancients, Seneca delves deeply into rhetoric, the art of persuasive and eloquent speech, and more profoundly still, into philosophy. He seeks not merely clever arguments or rhetorical flourishes, but genuine answers to the hardest, most enduring questions of human existence. What is a good life? How does one find peace? How does one face fate? In the intricate logic of the Stoics, in the calm, reasoned inquiries of the great Greek thinkers, he discovers a profound spiritual anchor, a steadfast point of reference in a constantly shifting world. The written word, the quiet act of reading and writing, becomes his ultimate refuge, a fortress built not of stone, but of enduring ideas, where the restless anxieties and fleeting worries of the world cannot penetrate. This focused silence, this deep and unwavering immersion in thought, is a unique and powerful kind of peace. It is not merely an absence of external sound, but a profound absence of internal distraction, a state where the mind is fully engaged, yet utterly serene and settled. The gentle rustle of turning pages, the soft, almost imperceptible whisper of a fellow scholar nearby, the steady, warm, comforting glow of the lamp sorny. These are the only companions in this profound quietude. In this quiet devotion to knowledge, the mind finds its true, natural rhythm, slowing, deepening, until it rests in the profound, comforting weight of understanding. It is the space where the brain, unburdened by the incessant demands of the immediate, can drift into a state of profound, restorative calm, gently enveloped by the enduring legacy of human thought. Let this quiet absorption wash over you, guiding you to your own inner stillness. The sea journey, a blur of gray horizon and the constant, rhythmic slap of waves against the hull, deposited him onto a different shore. Not the familiar, bustling docks of Ostia, but a small, craggy inlet on an island named Corsica. 8 years stretched before him, an unwritten scroll of time on this rugged land, a sentence passed not by gods, but by the fickle whims of an emperor's wife. He was no longer the celebrated orator, the sharp mind of the Roman Forum, but simply Seneca, exiled. The island was a study in raw, untamed earth. The wind, a constant, unseen sculptor, had carved the granite cliffs into grotesque, ancient faces, forever staring out at the vast, indifferent expanse of the Tyrrhenian Sea. It was a wind that carried the scent of wild herbs, myrtle and lentisk, a fragrance both bitter and cleansing, a stark contrast to the perfumed air of Rome's palaces. It whistled through the sparse, gnarled trees, a mournful, solitary song that became the soundtrack to his solitude. Listen closely, and you could hear it weaving through the ravines, rustling the stiff, dark leaves, a whisper of something ancient and enduring. His dwelling was simple, a stone hut clinging to the hillside, its roof weighted down against the relentless gales. Inside, the walls were rough, unadorned, cool to the touch even in the midday sun. There was no mosaic floor, no painted fresco, only the bare stone reflecting the flickering light of a small oil lamp as dusk settled. The air within was always cool, carrying the faint scent of damp earth and the distant salt of the sea. Each morning the sun would rise, a slow, deliberate ascent over the eastern horizon, painting the jagged peaks in hues of soft rose and deep amethyst. Seneca would sit, perhaps on a smooth, sea-worn rock, feeling the first warmth on his skin. The world around him was vast, empty, yet teeming with a quiet, persistent life. Lizards, quick as thought, would dart across sun-baked stones. Gulls would cry overhead, their calls echoing the wildness of the place. The rhythm of the waves, an eternal pulse, was a constant companion, a deep, resonant hum that vibrated through the very ground beneath his feet. He learned the names of the constellations that blazed with an intensity unknown in the light-polluted skies of Rome. Each night, as the last sliver of twilight faded, the heavens would unveil themselves, a shimmering tapestry of diamonds scattered across black velvet. The Milky Way, a luminous river of light, stretched from one horizon to the other, a breathtaking reminder of the universe's immense, silent majesty. Lying beneath this celestial dome, the world shrank, his own troubles diminishing to mere specks against such grandeur. The cold, crisp air would carry the scent of the night-blooming flowers, a delicate counterpoint to the rugged landscape. The hard rocks of Corsica became his teachers. They spoke of resilience, of enduring the ceaseless pounding of waves, the relentless scouring of wind, yet remaining steadfast. He would trace the ancient fissures with his fingertips, feeling the cool, unyielding surface, a quiet strength emanating from the very stone. He walked the narrow paths, worn smooth by centuries of shepherds and wild goats, feeling the rough texture of the earth beneath his simple sandals. Each step was deliberate, a mindful engagement with the rugged terrain. In this solitude, Seneca discovered a profound truth. The mind, if cultivated, can be its own paradise. The external world, with its grand palaces and clamoring crowds, its fleeting joys and bitter sorrows, was but a fleeting shadow. The true richness lay within, in the landscape of thought, in the quiet contemplation of wisdom. He found solace in the simple act of observation, the way a single blade of grass pushed through a crack in the rock, the intricate patterns of sunlight on the water, the delicate dance of a butterfly caught in an updraft. The howling mountain winds, which once might have seemed a torment, became a metaphor for the storms of life. They raged, they buffeted, they threatened to tear everything away. But like the ancient trees that bent and swayed, yet remained rooted, so too could the soul find its anchor. He allowed the wind to carry away his grievances, his anger, his yearning for what was lost. He let it strip away the non-essentials, leaving only the core of his being, clear and unburdened. The vast, empty spaces of the island, the endless horizon where sea met sky, invited a different kind of vision. Without the distractions of human ambition, the grand narratives of empire, he could see further, deeper. The stars, countless and silent, were not just distant lights, but symbols of an eternal order, a cosmic reason that governed all things. Their slow, majestic procession across the night sky was a constant, calming rhythm, a reminder that all things pass, yet something fundamental remains. He learned to embrace the quiet hum of existence, the gentle pulse of the natural world, the rustling of leaves, the distant bleating of sheep, the soft murmur of the waves receding from the shore. These were the sounds that filled his days, replacing the clamor of the forum. His own breath became a conscious anchor, rising and falling with the same steady rhythm as the tides. In this minimalist tranquility, stripped of all artifice, he found a profound sense of release. The island, once a prison, transformed into a sanctuary, a crucible where the spirit was forged anew, stronger, clearer, and infinitely more resilient. The smallness of his physical world opened up the immensity of his inner universe, a quiet, boundless realm of thought and contemplation. 8 years had passed, each one marked by the slow turning of the seasons on Corsica, by the waxing and waning of the moon over the craggy peaks. Then a summons. The wheel of fortune, ever turning, had brought him back. Not as a free man returning from a long journey, but as a tutor, a guide for a young emperor. To be Nero Rome, the magnificent, sprawling city, rose again before him, a labyrinth of marble and ambition, gold and intrigue. The contrast was stark, almost dizzying. From the raw, elemental simplicity of Corsica, he was plunged into the heart of imperial luxury. The palace of the Caesars was a symphony of excess, a monument to human grandeur and fleeting power. Imagine the vast, cool halls, paved with polished marble from distant lands, reflecting the soft glow of hundreds of oil lamps. The air, heavy with the scent of exotic frankincense and myrrh, mingled with the aroma of roasted meats and sweet wines from distant vineyards. Footsteps echoed softly on rich carpets, woven with intricate patterns that told stories of gods and heroes. Courtiers, draped in silks dyed with the most vibrant Tyrian purple, moved with a languid grace, their voices a low, constant murmur of whispered conversations and polite laughter. The clinking of goblets, the soft strumming of lyres, the distant, muffled shouts from the bustling city outside Funda. All these sounds wove together into the complex tapestry of palace life. But Seneca, though he moved within this gilded cage, carried the quiet of Corsica within him. He inhabited the palace, yet he did not truly belong to its opulence. His duties were demanding, tutoring the young prince in rhetoric, philosophy, and the art of governance, guiding a spirit both brilliant and deeply flawed. He walked through the lavish gardens, past fountains where water danced and sparkled in the sunlight, past statues of gods and emperors. Yet his gaze often turned inward. His own chambers within the sprawling palace were a sanctuary, a deliberate counterpoint to the surrounding extravagance. While other courtiers adorned their rooms with frescoes and intricate carvings, Seneca's space remained simple, almost austere. The walls were plain, perhaps a muted cream or a soft gray, allowing the mind to rest without visual distraction. A single lamp, fueled by good olive oil, cast a steady, gentle light, illuminating the stacks of scrolls and tablets that were his true companions. Even amidst the most lavish banquets, where platters of exotic delicacies were brought forth by an army of slaves, and wine flowed like rivers, Seneca maintained his discipline. He would partake sparingly, perhaps a small portion of simple food, a cup of clear, cool water. The taste of the water, pure and refreshing, was a luxury in itself, a connection to the mountain springs of his childhood, to the rainwater he had gathered on Corsica. The coarse bread, unadorned and wholesome, grounded him, a reminder of fundamental sustenance amidst superficial abundance. The sounds of the palace, the distant revelry, the music, the laughter, the drunken shouts, would often drift through the windows of his room. He allowed them to pass, like clouds across the sky, acknowledging their presence but not allowing them to penetrate his inner stillness. He taught himself to hear them as background, as the external world's ceaseless hum, while his own mind remained a quiet, ordered space. It was a conscious act of separation, a cultivation of inner peace amidst outer chaos. Imagine the contrast outside, the grand dining halls, filled with the clatter of silver and gold, the boisterous conversation, the perfumes and rich fabrics. Inside his room, the soft rustle of a papyrus scroll as he turned a page, the gentle scratch of his stylus on a wax tablet, the rhythmic breathing of his own body, the cool, smooth feel of the clay lamp, the faint scent of the burning oil, the profound silence that seemed to gather in the corners of his room, a protective cloak. This quiet amidst the noise was not merely a preference, it was a philosophical practice. Seneca understood that true tranquility was not dependent on one's external circumstances. One could be in a bustling marketplace and find inner calm, just as one could be in a secluded hermitage and be tormented by internal strife. The key was the construction of an inner fortress, a citadel of the mind that no external force could breach. He built this fortress brick by brick, thought by thought. Each time he chose simplicity over extravagance, each time he chose contemplation over distraction, he reinforced its walls. The marble columns of the palace might stand for centuries, but they were still subject to decay. His inner sanctuary, built of discipline and wisdom, was far more resilient, far more enduring. The weight of his responsibility, the constant pressure of court life, the subtle dangers of being close to power thinned. These were the currents that swirled around him. Yet within his core he remained steady, like a deep well whose surface might be rippled by the wind, but whose depths remained still and clear. He understood that true freedom lay not in escaping the world, but in mastering one's reactions to it. Even as he advised the emperor as he navigated the treacherous waters of Roman politics, his mind held onto the image of the Corsican cliffs, the vast, silent stars, the simple, honest earth. These memories were his anchors, pulling him back to a fundamental truth that transcended all imperial glory. He could participate in the world, fulfill his duties, but he did not have to be consumed by it. His inner dwelling remained a place of quiet reflection, a refuge where the soul could always return, unburdened and at peace. The core, he knew, remained steadfast, an unyielding rock in the shifting sands of imperial power. Of all the profound questions that occupied Seneca's mind, few were as central, as urgent, as the nature of time. Not the ticking of a clepsydra or the shadows cast by a sundial, but time as the very fabric of existence, the medium through which all life unfolds. His most famous meditation on this subject, on the shortness of life, is not a lament, but a call to awakening, a gentle, insistent whisper in the ear of a slumbering soul. Imagine time not as a rigid construct, but as a vast, flowing river. Picture a clear mountain spring bubbling forth from the earth, cool and pure. It begins as a tentative trickle weaving its way through moss, covered stones, a delicate, almost inaudible sound. Listen closely to the gentle drip, drip, drip of water seeping from a hidden crack in the rock face, each drop a tiny, perfect sphere, reflecting the dappled light of the forest canopy. This spring gathers strength, forming a small stream, winding its way through ancient forests. The water glides over smooth pebbles, creating a soft, continuous murmur, a soothing, hypnotic sound that invites the mind to drift. Sunlight filters through the dense leaves overhead, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow on the water's surface, making it shimmer and dance. The air around the stream is cool and moist, carrying the earthy scent of damp soil and decaying leaves. The stream flows onward, never pausing, never turning back. It carves its path through the landscape, sometimes rushing over small cascades, creating a gentle, frothy sound, a soft hiss and gurgle. Other times it broadens into a slow, meandering current, reflecting the deep blue of the sky and the tall, silent trees that line its banks. The sound here is a deeper, more resonant hum, a steady, unwavering tone that seems to vibrate through the very ground. This is the metaphor for our lives, for the precious, finite span we are given. Seneca's voice, deep and resonant, yet calm and measured, seems to flow with the river itself. He does not shout, he merely observes, inviting us to observe alongside him. Life is not short, he would say, his words like the smooth, cool stones in the riverbed, but we waste much of it. He speaks of those who are constantly busy, yet achieve nothing of true value, like a ship tossed by a storm, moving furiously but without direction. They are like travelers who rush through a beautiful landscape, their eyes fixed on the destination, never truly seeing the wildflowers by the path, never feeling the warmth of the sun on their face, never hearing the song of the birds in the trees. Their lives are a blur of activity, a frantic, unceasing motion, yet they never truly arrive. Consider the water dripping into a stone basin, each drop a tiny, distinct moment. If you were to watch it for an hour, it might seem insignificant, just a slow, steady rhythm, but over days, weeks, years, those drops carve deep indentations into the hardest stone. So too does time, drop by drop, carve out the shape of our lives. Are we allowing those drops to fall idly, unnoticed, or are we consciously collecting them, cherishing each one? Seneca reminds us that we are generous with our time in a way we would never be with our money. We guard our possessions, our gold and silver, with fierce vigilance. Yet we allow others to steal our moments, to consume our hours with trivialities, with endless demands, with distractions that offer no true nourishment for the soul. He would gently urge us to reclaim this most valuable of possessions, this flowing river of moments that constitutes our existence. He speaks of those who procrastinate, always waiting for the right time to live, to pursue wisdom, to find joy. They are like someone standing at the edge of the river, waiting for it to stop flowing before they step in. But the river never stops. It moves with an eternal, relentless grace. The right time is always now, this very moment, this breath, this perception. To defer living is to defer life itself, allowing the precious current to pass by, untouched. The sound of the stream, a constant, gentle rush, becomes a reminder of this perpetual motion. It is a sound that does not demand attention but invites it, a quiet insistence on the present. It teaches us to relax our resistance, to let go of the frantic struggle against what is, and to simply be present in the flow. The water does not fight the rocks. It flows around them, over them, shaping them over vast stretches of time. It finds its path always, with an effortless grace. His words, delivered with that measured, almost hypnotic cadence, suggest that true wisdom lies in mastering the present moment. The past is gone, an unchangeable river that has already flowed into the sea. The future is uncertain, a river yet to be navigated. Only the present is truly ours, this fleeting, precious instant. If we fill this instant with purpose, with contemplation, with genuine connection, then life, no matter its length, feels full, rich, and complete. Let the imagery of the flowing water soothe your mind. The gentle gurgle of a brook, the soft lapping of waves against a mossy bank, the steady drip of a hidden spring. Feel the coolness of the air near the water, the subtle scent of damp earth and growing things. Allow your own breath to synchronize with this natural rhythm, a slow, steady inhale and exhale, mirroring the eternal flow of the river. Seneca's counsel is not one of anxiety, but of liberation. It is an invitation to shed the burdens of regret for the past and worry for the future, and to simply reside in the quiet power of the now. To truly live is to be fully present in each passing moment, to allow the river of time to carry you, not aimlessly but consciously, with a deep appreciation for every ripple, every current, every reflection on its surface. The rhythm of the water, ever present, ever flowing, guides you deeper into this understanding, deeper into a profound and restful peace. Seneca, in his later years, sought the quiet embrace of his country estate, a sanctuary where the world's clamor receded to a gentle hum. Here, amidst the ancient earth and living green, he found his truest teachers. The sun, a benevolent orb, would cast long, soft shadows across the rolling hills, painting the landscape in hues of ochre and deep emerald. He would step out, often barefoot, allowing the cool, damp morning dew to kiss the soles of his feet, a silent greeting from the waking world. Each blade of grass, each pebble on the path, held a story, a miniature universe of texture and form. His gaze would drift, unhurried, across the vineyards, tracing the intricate dance of the grapevines as they reached skyward, their gnarled trunks testament to countless seasons, spiraled upwards, anchoring themselves firmly to the trellises, their tendrils like slender, searching fingers, delicately grasping for purchase. He would observe the subtle shift in color of the leaves, from the vibrant, almost translucent green of early spring to the deep, leathery emerald of summer, and finally the fiery golds and russets of autumn, a slow, magnificent farewell before the winter's slumber. He would often pause, allowing his fingers to brush against the rough bark of an ancient olive tree, its skin fissured and wise, carrying the memory of centuries. The silvery green leaves, delicate and slender, would shimmer in the breeze, whispering secrets to the passing air. The scent of the earth, rich and dark, rose to meet him, the deep, fertile aroma of turned soil after a gentle rain, mingled with the faint, sweet perfume of wild herbs blooming shyly in the undergrowth. He would inhale deeply, letting the clean, pure air fill his lungs, feeling the subtle expansion and contraction of his chest, a rhythm as old as the hills themselves. The texture of the soil beneath his feet was a constant source of quiet contemplation. Sometimes it was the loose, dry earth, crumbling gently between his toes, warm from the afternoon sun. Other times, after a shower, it would be cool and yielding, a soft, rich loam that clung briefly to his skin before falling away. He would pick up a handful, letting the fine particles sift through his fingers, feeling the subtle grit, the tiny fragments of stone and organic matter, a tangible connection to the deep, silent work of the earth. This simple act grounded him, reminding him of the fundamental interconnectedness of all things, of the slow, patient cycles of growth and decay. As the day waned, the setting sun would begin its descent, bathing the estate in a warm, golden light. He would find himself drawn to the old red brick walls of the villa, now imbued with a deep, radiant warmth. He would place a hand against the sun-baked surface, feeling the lingering heat, a memory of the day's light. The rough, uneven texture of the bricks, each one unique, each one laid by human hands centuries ago, spoke of endurance, of stories etched in clay and mortar. The shadows lengthened, stretching like slow, silent rivers across the courtyard, deepening the hues of the stones and the foliage. The air itself seemed to thicken with the approaching evening, carrying the faint, sweet scent of night, blooming jasmine and the distant chirping of crickets beginning their nightly chorus. The soft rustle of leaves in the gentle evening breeze became a lullaby, a whispering symphony of the natural world. In these moments, Seneca understood that nature was the truest healer, not through grand pronouncements or complex remedies, but through its persistent, unhurried presence. It offered a mirror to the soul, reflecting back a stillness that the city often obscured. He would sit on a stone bench, watching the last slivers of light fade from the horizon, merging into the soft, purpling twilight. The distant call of an owl, a solitary note in the vast expanse of the evening, would break the silence, only to be absorbed back into its profound depth. His breath would naturally deepen, slowing to a gentle, steady rhythm, mirroring the quiet pulse of the earth around him. The worries of the day, the echoes of imperial court, the endless political machinations, all dissolved into the vastness of the twilight, replaced by a profound and simple peace. Here, in the heart of nature's slow, deliberate unfolding, the soul found its true repose, a gentle letting go, a quiet descent into the deep, restorative currents of the earth. The cool air would begin to settle, carrying the promise of the stars in the silent, watchful night, inviting a deeper surrender to the rhythms of rest. Even within the tranquil confines of his country estate, Seneca knew that true peace was not merely an absence of external sound, but an ordered quiet within the soul. He often reflected on the nature of noise, understanding that the clamor of the world was an inescapable constant, much like the ceaseless flow of a river. He observed that many sought silence as a prerequisite for inner calm, yet he argued that such a dependency made one a prisoner of circumstance. Instead, he taught that genuine serenity blossomed from an internal landscape, meticulously cultivated, impervious to the external din. Imagine him, then, not in the hushed groves of his villa, but high above the bustling Roman baths, a place where the city's vibrant, often chaotic, life truly throbbed. He might have rented a small room, perhaps a simple chamber with a window overlooking the public baths, a place where the sounds of daily life rose in a ceaseless, swirling vortex. Below, the air would be thick with the sounds of human activity, the rhythmic thud of a masseur's open hand against flesh, the sharp, sudden splash of bodies diving into cool pools, the guttural cries of vendors hawking their wares, fund, hot sausages. Get your hot sausages here. Mingling with the excited chatter of bathers, the clanking of weights from the exercise yard, and the piercing, drawn-out shriek of someone having their armpit hair plucked. For anyone else, such an environment would be anathema to thought, a relentless assault on the senses, driving away all possibility of concentration. Yet, Seneca, seated at his simple writing desk, his stylus scratching softly against a wax tablet or parchment, found in this very cacophony a profound lesson in inner discipline. The myriad sounds, rather than penetrating his inner sanctuary, became like a distant, indistinct murmur, a vast, complex background hum. He did not fight against them. He simply allowed them to exist outside the sphere of his immediate attention. He viewed these external disturbances, and indeed the internal chatter of the mind footy, the worries, the anxious thoughts, the endless to-do lists, as one might view clouds drifting across the sky. They were present undeniably, but they were not him, nor did they define his inner state. He did not cling to them, nor did he push them away with force. He observed them, acknowledged their transient nature, and then let them pass, without judgment, without engagement. The hawker's cry, the splash of water, the grunts of the weightlifter Thengui, all were merely passing phenomena, like the wind rustling leaves, or the distant barking of a dog. They existed, but they held no power over his focused attention, over the steady, quiet rhythm of his thoughts. This was not a forced suppression, but a cultivated detachment. He understood that the mind, left unchecked, would latch onto every stimulus, and amplifying its significance, drawing one into its current. But with intentional practice, the mind could learn to differentiate, to filter, to choose its focus. The noise below became a testament to the vitality of life, a natural part of the human experience, and by embracing it as such, rather than resisting it, he stripped it of its power to disturb. His soul, a well-ordered garden, remained serene, its pathways clear, its fountains gently flowing, even as the wild jungle of the city roared just beyond its walls. He would write, his hand moving with a steady, deliberate grace, his words forming on the page unmarred by the surrounding chaos. The act of writing itself became an anchor, a quiet, repetitive motion that solidified his internal focus. He breathed deeply, slowly, allowing the rhythmic intake and exhale of air to become a silent counterpoint to the city's symphony. Each breath was an affirmation of his presence, a gentle recentering, a soft return to the quiet core of his being. For those seeking solace in sleep, Seneca's wisdom offers a profound pathway. The world outside the window, the subtle creaks and groans of the house, the faint echoes of the day's concerns still swirling in the mind fundi. These are merely the Roman baths of our modern era. Do not fight them. Do not engage with the internal hawkers of worry or the splash of anxious thoughts. Instead, acknowledge their presence. Observe them as distant background sounds, as clouds drifting across the vast, open sky of your awareness. Let them pass. Focus instead on the gentle, steady rhythm of your own breathing, a silent, unwavering beat that guides you inward. This cultivated detachment, this gentle refusal to engage, opens a dark, quiet door within the mind, leading not to an empty void, but to the deep, restorative chambers of dreamland, where true silence, the soul, awaits. As the twilight deepened into the profound stillness of night, and the household settled into its slumber, Seneca often found himself drawn to the quiet glow of his study. It was here, in the soft, flickering light of an oil lamp, that he would embark on one of the most cherished rituals of his later years, writing letters to his dear friend, Lucius. These were not mere communiques of news or affairs, but intimate dispatches from the depths of his soul, a flowing conversation across miles and through the veil of night. The room would be hushed, save for the gentle crackle and hiss of the fire in the hearth, a steady, comforting presence. The flames danced, casting long, shifting shadows on the walls, painting the familiar space with a sense of ancient warmth and quiet contemplation. The air, cool and still, carried the faint, earthy scent of aging parchment and the subtle, metallic tang of ink. Seneca would sit, his back straight, his hands steady, carefully dipping his reed pen into the ink pot, the small, almost imperceptible sound of the tip touching the liquid a punctuation mark in the profound silence. With each stroke, he laid bare his thoughts on friendship, on the immutable nature of death, on the elusive yet essential quality of courage. These letters were a testament to the power of human connection, a lifeline woven through the complexities of existence. He wrote not as a distant philosopher, but as a trusted confidant, a wise elder sharing his deepest insights with a receptive heart. His words flowed onto the page, unhurried and precise, each sentence carefully crafted, yet imbued with an unmistakable warmth, like a gentle hand resting on a shoulder. He might begin by reflecting on the very essence of friendship, not as a fleeting alliance, but as a profound spiritual bond, a shared journey where two souls walk in tandem, offering solace and strength. He would write of the comfort found in knowing another mind so intimately, of the quiet joy in mutual understanding, the profound peace that comes from being truly seen and accepted. The thought of Lucilius, perhaps miles away, receiving these words, reading them under his own lamp, created an invisible thread, a shared space of quiet communion that transcended physical distance. Then his thoughts might turn to death, not with fear or despair, but with a calm, stoic acceptance. He would remind Lucilius and himself that death was not an ending to be dreaded, but a natural, inevitable part of life's grand design, a release from the burdens of the flesh, a return to the universal elements. He wrote of approaching it with courage, not a reckless bravado, but a quiet, inner fortitude, a serene readiness to meet what must come. His words, whispered onto the page in the quiet hours, sought to strip away the anxieties surrounding mortality, presenting it as a transition, a final act of relinquishment. He would speak of courage, not only in the face of physical danger, but in the everyday struggles of life, the courage to remain steadfast in one's principles, the courage to face adversity with an unbowed spirit, the courage to live authentically, free from the constraints of societal expectation. He emphasized that true courage was an internal flame, burning steadily even in the darkest nights, fueled by reason and virtue. As he wrote, the only sounds were the soft scratch of the pen, the occasional rustle of the parchment as he turned a page, and the steady rhythmic breathing of his own body. It was a deeply personal act, a moment of profound introspection shared with an absent friend. The words, once committed to the page, took on a life of their own, carrying his wisdom and his affection across the distances. Imagine these letters arriving, carried by messenger, their seals unbroken, their contents waiting to be revealed. Lucilius, perhaps in his own quiet study, would break the seal, unroll the scroll, and read. And in those moments, Seneca's voice would resonate, a low, soothing murmur in his friend's ear, a voice filled with understanding and genuine care. This was not a lecture, but a shared exploration, an intimate dialogue between two kindred spirits. This dialogue quality, this sense of being personally addressed by a wise and compassionate friend, is profoundly calming. It lowers the natural defenses we often erect in the face of external information. We feel understood, not judged. We feel cared for, enveloped in a gentle warmth that permeates the mind and body. The words flowing like a quiet stream lull the senses, inviting a deep sense of trust and relaxation. As you listen, imagine Seneca's quiet study, the flickering firelight, the scratch of his pen. Imagine his gentle voice speaking directly to you, sharing wisdom on how to navigate the currents of life with grace and inner peace. Feel the warmth of his friendship, the understanding in his words. Let this quiet, intimate conversation wash over you, softening the edges of any tension you might hold. Your muscles, sensing this profound acceptance, begin to relax, releasing their grip. Your emotions, soothed by the gentle cadence of his thoughts, settle into a state of placid calm. The world outside recedes, and you are left in this comforting space, held by the wisdom of an ancient friend, drifting gently towards the quiet shores of sleep. Seneca, in his quiet moments, often contemplated the grand unfolding tapestry of existence. He understood that life in its essence was a continuous dance of change, a ceaseless flow from one state to the next. He taught us to embrace this flow, to truly love our fate, or amor fati, as the philosophers of old would say. Imagine, if you will, the world outside your window. The seasons, in their timeless procession, do not hesitate, do not question their purpose. The vibrant greens of spring burst forth with an undeniable vitality, a surge of life that pushes through the soil, reaching for the sun. There is no struggle in this emergence, only a powerful, silent affirmation of being. Then summer arrives, a golden embrace, warming the earth, ripening the fruits, and filling the air with the hum of insects and the scent of blossoms. The sun hangs high, a benevolent eye overseeing the abundance. The leaves on the ancient oak trees grow thick and dark, absorbing the light, fulfilling their purpose with quiet dignity. There is a deep contentment in summer's fullness, a sense of all things being exactly as they should be. As the days shorten, autumn begins its gentle descent. The leaves, once so green and lush, now begin their slow transformation. Hues of fiery crimson, deep ochre, and burnished gold spread across the landscape, a final magnificent display before their release. One by one, they detach from their branches, not with a cry of despair, but with a soft rustle, a surrender to the earth that nurtured them. They drift downwards, twirling in the crisp air, settling into a soft carpet beneath the trees. This falling is not an end, but a return, a nourishing of the soil for the life yet to come. It is a profound act of letting go, an acceptance of the cycle. And then winter, a time of quiet introspection. The trees stand bare, their skeletal branches etched against the pale sky, revealing the true strength of their structure. The earth rests, drawing inward, gathering its energies for the next awakening. Snow might fall, blanketing the world in a hush, a pristine silence that cleanses and renews. In this stillness there is a profound beauty, a deep peace that whispers of endurance and the promise of rebirth. These are not merely changes. They are the inevitable expressions of the cosmic order, the silent, ceaseless working of logos, the universal reason that governs all things. There is a profound wisdom in observing this natural rhythm. The river does not rage against the stones in its path. It flows around them, reshaping its course, carving new paths with patient persistence. The clouds do not fight the wind. They gather and disperse, forming ephemeral shapes against the vast canvas of the sky, always in motion, always changing, yet always remaining clouds. Seneca encouraged us to find the same acceptance within ourselves, to cease the struggle, to release the tension that binds us to what was or what we wish would be, to let go of the tight grip on the reins of our own lives, and instead allow ourselves to be carried by the currents of existence. Imagine your worries, your anxieties about the future, your regrets about the past, as tiny pebbles you have been clutching in your hand. Feel their weight, their sharpness. Now imagine opening your palms slowly, gently, and letting them drop into a clear, still pool of water. Watch them sink, dissolving into the depths, becoming one with the vastness. There is a liberation in this surrender, a profound peace that comes from understanding that some things are simply beyond our control, and that this is not a weakness, but a truth. When we stop resisting, when we stop fighting against the inevitable tides of life, we find a lightness, a sense of being gently cradled. The soul, no longer burdened by the weight of resistance, feels as if it is being softly lifted, floating on a serene current. This acceptance is not resignation. It is a deep, abiding trust in the wisdom of the universe. It is a recognition that every moment, every experience holds within it a lesson, a chance for growth, a piece of the grand design. Even in moments of difficulty, when the path ahead seems obscured, there is a quiet strength in knowing that this too is part of the journey, a necessary turn in the road. Let this feeling of grand reconciliation wash over you now. Release the need to control, the urge to fight. Allow your shoulders to drop, your jaw to soften. Feel the gentle current of acceptance flowing through you, loosening every knot of tension, smoothing every furrow of worry. You are part of this magnificent, unfolding story, and every chapter, every page is precisely as it should be. The stars above do not question their orbits. The trees do not resist the changing light. And neither now need you. Just breathe and allow yourself to be. The light in Seneca's villa had begun to soften, the long shadows stretching across the polished marble floors, deepening the hues of the frescoes on the walls. The air, usually alive with the hum of household activity, was hushed, almost reverent. The moment had arrived, not with a sudden shock, but with the quiet inevitability of a sunset. Seneca, with that same unsettling serenity that had characterized his life, made his preparations. He did not rush, nor did he linger in a way that suggested reluctance. Every movement was deliberate, imbued with a quiet dignity. He requested a warm bath. Imagine the gentle steam rising from the large basin, carrying with it the faint scent of herbs, perhaps lavender or rosemary, mingled with the earthy aroma of the villa itself. The water, warm and inviting, shimmered under the soft glow of oil lamps, reflecting their flickering light like tiny dancing stars on its surface. He stepped into the water, not with the trepidation of one facing an end, but with the calm grace of someone seeking solace. A final cleansing. The warmth enveloped him, a comforting embrace that began to loosen the last vestiges of tension from his aging limbs. The water was a gentle balm, a quiet whisper against his skin. As the warmth penetrated deeper, a sense of profound peace settled upon him. His gaze, often sharp with philosophical inquiry, softened, becoming luminous, clear as the water itself. It was as if the very essence of his being was becoming transparent, unburdened by the weight of the world, by the demands of life, by the very confines of his physical form. The air in the room grew heavy with the sweet steam, blurring the edges of the familiar objects around him. The sounds of the world outside thundered, the distant murmur of the city, the rustle of leaves in the olive grove city, seemed to recede, becoming faint echoes, unimportant. Here, in this intimate space, surrounded by the soothing warmth, there was only the present moment, a gentle unfolding. His breathing, always measured, became even deeper, more expansive, as if he were drawing the very essence of the quiet air into his lungs and releasing it back lighter than before. He was shedding not only the worries of the day but the burdens of a lifetime. The political intrigue, the philosophical debates, the triumphs and the exiles, all of it was fading like footprints in the sand washed away by the tide. This was not a tragedy but a transformation, a profound letting go. Imagine your own body now, heavy with the day's journey, settling deeper into the surface beneath you. Feel the warmth of the bed, the softness of the pillows cradling you. Just as Seneca allowed the warm water to dissolve his earthly concerns, allow your own body to release its grip on wakefulness. Feel the tension draining from your muscles, from your face, from your scalp. His consciousness, once so intensely focused on the complexities of human existence, began to expand, to diffuse. It was no longer confined to the vessel of his body, but seemed to blend with the rising steam, to drift on the currents of the air. It mingled with the ancient dust motes dancing in the lamplight, with the scent of the herbs, with the very fabric of the villa itself. He was becoming one with the space, with the moment. The flickering candlelight cast long, dancing shadows on the walls, creating a hypnotic rhythm, a silent visual lullaby. Each flicker was a tiny breath, a gentle pulse. His awareness was no longer clinging to the sharp edges of individual thoughts, but softening, blurring, dissolving into a tranquil expanse. He was becoming part of the ancient history that surrounded him, part of the Mediterranean breeze that had swept through his life, part of the very fabric of time. This dissolution was not an ending, but a return, a merging with something larger, something eternal. The sense of self, of individual identity, was gently loosening its hold, allowing for a vast, boundless serenity to take its place. The heavy cloak of the physical body, with all its sensations and demands, was being shed, allowing the spirit to rise, light and unencumbered. Let your own awareness follow this path now. Feel yourself letting go of the need to hold on to maintain a distinct sense of self. Allow the boundaries between you and the space around you to soften. Feel the warmth of your surroundings, the gentle breath of the night air. Your thoughts, like the steam in Seneca's bath, are becoming less defined, more ethereal, dissolving into a peaceful haze. You are drifting, effortlessly, into a state of profound release, a gentle surrender to the quiet embrace of the night. The journey of the day is complete. The concerns of the waking world are fading, becoming distant whispers. There's only this moment, this profound letting go. The Seneca's spirit gently untangled itself from the threads of earthly existence, and it rejoined the vast, silent symphony of the universe. Imagine, if you will, the night sky above us now. A boundless expanse of deep indigo stretching infinitely in every direction. The stars, countless pinpricks of light, begin to emerge, not as random specks, but as elements of an intricate, unimaginably vast design. Each one follows its appointed path, moving in a silent, majestic orbit, a celestial dance orchestrated by an unseen hand. This is the cosmic logos, the universal reason, the eternal order that Seneca sought to understand and to live by. All the thinking, all the striving, all the power and the intricate web of human affairs that once occupied his brilliant mind have now receded. They are like faint echoes, distant whispers carried on a breeze that has long since passed. What remains is a profound stillness, a deep, resonant silence that permeates everything. It is the silence of the spheres, the quiet hum of creation itself. In this vast cosmic stillness, every atom, every particle, every living thing breathes in a rhythm that is both individual and universal. The ancient mountains breathe, the deep oceans breathe. The very air you are now breathing is part of this eternal exhalation and inhalation. It is a silent symphony, a harmony so deep it transcends sound. You too are an integral part of this magnificent eternal order. Feel your own breath now rising and falling, a gentle wave in the vast ocean of existence. It is the only rhythm that truly matters in this quiet moment. Let it be your anchor, your guide into the deepest peace. Each inhale brings a sense of calm, a fresh, cool current washing over you. Each exhale releases any remaining tension, any lingering thought, any last flicker of wakefulness. The earth beneath you is a vast, ancient cradle. It has held countless generations, witnessed untold stories, and now it holds you. Feel its steady, unwavering support. It will bear your weight, absorb your weariness, and keep you safe through the long hours of the night. There is no need to carry any burden, for the earth is strong, and it will hold you. Above you, the countless stars, those distant, silent guardians, are watching over your slumber. Their light, traveling across unimaginable distances, is a gentle, reassuring presence. They are ancient, timeless, and in their quiet vigilance they protect your dreams. Let your mind become as vast and as quiet as the night sky itself. Let your thoughts drift away like wisps of cloud dissolving into the boundless expanse. All striving has ceased. All questions have found their answer in the profound peace of this moment. You are not alone. You are connected to everything, to the silent wisdom of the universe, to the endless cycle of life and rest. Allow yourself to sink deeper now into this soft, welcoming embrace of unconsciousness. The world outside is receding, becoming a distant memory. Your body is heavy, your mind is clear, and your spirit is at peace. Listen to the gentle whispers of the night, the faint rustle of leaves, the distant sigh of the wind. These are the sounds of the world settling into its own deep sleep, mirroring your own journey. The music now is fading, becoming one with the soft breeze, carrying you further and further into the quiet depths. Let go. Let go of every thought. Let go of every sensation. Just breathe and sleep. Deeply, peacefully, you are safe. You are held. Sleep now.